Have you ever pirated a game before? It's okay, you can tell me. That's crazy. No, just keep talking. I'll just be over here. You thought you could get away with this one, huh? I won't throw you in the slammer this time, but I will make it incredibly inconvenient for you to play that game you stole. Also, your fine is 1 like on this video. Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman is just the coolest superhero out there. Sorry, it's been proven with science. Not gonna debate this one. He beats up bad guys, wears a cool costume, world's greatest detective, mind you, and he can glide through the air with his cool cape and use his grappling hook to get to hard-to-reach places. But what happens if he can't do those last two? Especially if he needs to do that in order to actually finish the game. Well, the developers at Rocksteady did just that for anyone who pirated the game. Instead of gliding with his cape, the uncaped Crusader would just kinda float to the ground. And that grappling hook, there were places you just couldn't grapple to, even though you needed to go to those in order to advance the game. So Batman couldn't Batman, all because you wanted to pirate the game. Five Nights at Freddy's. In a similar situation, the debut of Freddy Fazbear hid a little surprise for those who decide to obtain the game outside of legal means. You all probably remember Five Nights at Freddy's absolutely blew up in 2014 after all these scaredy cat YouTubers made videos about it. The game wasn't even expensive, but there were plenty of people who chose to pirate the game instead of copping up the few bucks it would take to buy it. Well, I hope those people like being scared. With a pirated copy, the entire game would play normally. Oh, that doesn't sound so bad, but there was an extra little surprise when you exited the game. See, a special jump scare designed just for those who didn't pay every single time they closed the game would appear. Classic. Crysis Warhead, the standalone expansion to the FPS from Crytek, had a particularly silly surprise hidden in its code for anyone who tried to pirate the game. Sure, you could still install the game and see all the pretty graphics and test out if your computer was up to snuff, but the weapons you're supposed to use to take out the bad guys, they all shoot chickens now. Yes, literal chickens. Now, I'm not a quantum mechanics expert, so I can't explain how you fit 30 living chickens in an ammo cartridge, but Crytek figured it out. Oh, and it's not just your guns either, by the way. You'll be assaulted by chickens from your enemy's weapons too, just bombarded on all sides, like when you harass a chicken in Legend of Zelda, though I guess those are technically cuckoos. Grand Theft Auto 4. When Grand Theft Auto 4 came out, Rockstar Games wasn't messing around with pirates. They knew there was no amount of DRM or security that could possibly stop a game from getting pirated. So they decided to make playing pirated copies of this game as miserable as they possibly could. For starters, the standard game camera was replaced with one that swings constantly from left to right like it does when Nico is drunk. This alone is pretty headache-inducing, but it's still possible to get through most of the game, technically. After a while, you might even get used to the camera and you could make adjustments to it. But what you couldn't make adjustments for was the fact that every car you entered would automatically accelerate and become impossible to control. No brakes means either you're driving straight into a wall or spinning out and crashing. Some cars would also have damaged engines as soon as you enter them, which would cause them to explode after a short time. Basically, they took the cars out of the driving game. Have you ever tried walking from one end of Liberty City to the other? It takes forever. Making cars impossible to use made it basically impossible to enjoy GTA 4. And that's in addition to the laundry list of other glitches they included for pirates. Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge is a great game, and there's no better feeling than running around rooftops doing awesome parkour moves. Parkour! Parkour! Never mind the fact that just looking at this game almost made you go blind. Seriously, how much white is this city painted with? Oh look, there's some red spots. Guess that's where you can run up to. But if you had a pirated copy of the game, that's when things instead slow down. Normally, when you run up to a ledge, you want to speed up so you can jump and clear the gap. Extreme! Parkour! Parkour! But in pirated copies, your character would just slow down to a crawl. It's like walking through quicksand or a plane hitting the brakes right as you're about to take off. You could say that the developers made pirates literally walk the plank. The Sims 4. Man, The Sims 4 has been going for a long time, huh? That game came out in September 2014, and it's still going strong today. That's pretty wild, and it's probably safe to assume that all those Sims fans paid for their copy fair and square. But for those who didn't, Maxis had something ready to ruin their unearned good time. Even if you've never played The Sims, you probably know that it censors characters' naked bodies when their clothes come off. Like when they get in the shower, change their clothes, get ready for woohoo time when they're really bold and use the hot tub, those kinds of things. In a pirated copy of Sims 4, that pixelation would persist even after the clothes went back. A little weird, but not groundbreaking. But then it would spread. The pixelation would spread out from your character and affect the things around it until your entire screen was one big pixelated mess. It's very fun to see in action, and it was pretty effective at making pirates angry. It doesn't really matter now though, since the base game went free to play. Skullgirls. You might have missed out on this one if you aren't big on fighting games, but the game Skullgirls from 2012 went in an entirely different direction with its piracy measures. When someone downloaded an illegal copy of Skullgirls, they would get the entire game free and clear, no glitches, just like if you had paid for it. However, if a pirate managed to complete the game, a message would appear that read, "What is the square root of fish? Now I'm sad." Confusing, yeah? Well, it's pretty much nonsense. Actually is nonsense, but it did serve a purpose or as a method to their madness. When a pirate would tweet at the game's developers asking what the message meant, they would reply by saying, "It means you should have bought the game." The developers didn't care if they stopped pirates from playing the game, but they did make sure they could shame them publicly on the internet for their crimes. Real jokesters, those guys. Serious Sam 3. The developers of Serious Sam 3 are also quite the jokesters. The Serious Sam series is known for being silly and over the top, but when it came to piracy protection for their game, they went with the route of making the game unplayable in a way that made them chuckle. You see, when you pirated a copy of Serious Sam 3, you would get a constant companion. Well, less of a companion and more like an insufferable pain in the butt. A gross, fleshy scorpion monster would follow you around and constantly attack you. Adding to that, the scorpion monster was completely invincible and zipped around like a spooky critter so that you never knew where it was going to attack you from. Yeesh, I'd rather just pay the money than look at that thing. Game Dev Tycoon. This last game is the real big kahuna of trolling pirates. Game Dev Tycoon was developed by just two dudes and released on Steam back in 2012. Just a day after it launched, it was reported that a vast majority of the copies being played were pirated versions. The developers at Greenheart Games didn't think to include any anti-piracy stuff beforehand, but they apparently loved to troll because what they did next was wild. Instead of hunting down and punishing the pirates, Greenheart Games created their own cracked copy of Game Dev Tycoon and uploaded it themselves to a file-sharing website where their game was being pirated. Mad lads, you're probably thinking, but they did have a plan. Hidden in the code of their cracked copy was a little piece of poetic justice. When you pirated that cracked version, the game your in-game company made would be pirated, costing you tons of money until you went bankrupt and lost your game. When pirates went to message boards and Twitter to complain, they were easily picked out and mocked. And is there anything better than fast-acting karma? See? Pirates never prosper. Remember that the next time you think about illegally downloading something. Here at Kino Gaming, we are all above the board, all the time. Well, unless it's a cool pirate hat. Don't ask how I got this. I need it for the Skull and Bones video, okay?